Social, political, and religious condition of the 15th century. Social status. The post-chaucerian age or the 15th century was a period of unrest, political, social, religious, and literary activity. The 15th century covers the period from 1400 to 1500. It was a period of wars and chaos. This period witnessed barren in English literature. The term post-Chaucerian means period after the death of Chaucer. The 5th century was seen as a period of confusion and social disorder. The kings were busy in fighting with French. They also fought within. Such lawless times were not helping to growth of literature. The scenario of War of the Roses diverted the attentions from art and literature. The finance department was empty, and the powerful industrialists were exhausted by the wars. Due to the long French wars, there was isolation and break of contacts with France, Italy, and other countries of Europe, which were source of inspiration to writers in England. There was complete lackness of talent. It was an era of Chaucer's imitators who saw little originality. No talented poet who could rank with Chaucer was born during this period. Lifeless imitation seemed the old-fashioned dress of romance and allegory. The prose of this period was the thin both in quality and quantity. Political sphere. The political conflicts had a harmful effect on art and literature. The post-Chaucerian period was in the grip of wars, unrest, and chaos. The powerful lords behaved in shameless and irresponsible manner. The 30 years struggle of War of Roses shook the foundation of the order of feudalism. In Cad's Rebellion and in the War of Roses, the energy of England was violently destroyed. There was frightful reign of Richard III of that time. It marked the end of civil wars and feudalism. In the long reign of Henry VIII, many purposeful and significant changes took place. For the first time, England was freed from all church bondage by the Act of Supremacy. Broad national outlook and modern secular spirit were achieved towards the close of the 15th century. Religious condition. The freedom of thought and expression was hampered during this period. Wycliffe's reforms and his ideals and Chaucer's secular spirit were failed to notice. Religion and life values continued to degenerate, and all attempts at reforms were stopped and crushed by power and authority. So literature which requires a free atmosphere for development could not flourish during this period. The bad state of education was also responsible for hampering the free movement of thought. Universities were not centered of intellectual activity. They they had become the centers of endless and useless controversies of middle philosophy. The fast rising middle classes were hungry for intellectual interest. In 15th century there was nothing to inspire but much to repress literary genius. In the in this atmosphere of intellectual, no talented poet was born, but still the 15th century was the seed time for the germination of literature. The introduction of the printing press by Caxton was a historical event. The ballad literature became immensely popular in this period. Thus, in a nutshell, we can sum up the entire social, political, and religious condition of England in the 15th century appears as a impertinent English history, but still was the seed time for germination of literature.